All right, so this is a rough idea of how I installed the lights onto my mower. So I use these lights for my front. There's a part number. And I use this harness right here, and this harness plugs in with each light. And then with the outer ones, I basically plugged them in and I cut part of the harness and I spliced it in on both sides. So then towards the back, basically plugs in as well on both sides. And then with these in the front, it all connects into a two plug harness, as well as the rear for both. And I tied in the black one is your power, the white is your ground. So with the power, you're gonna want one wire going into a switch, plug it in, and then another wire from the switch going to the positive of your battery. And now your negative, you can either plug it into the battery or you can ground it to the chassis. And to drill the holes for your lights, I use this. You need a 3/4 inch hole. How it says right there, 3/4 inch. That's for your grommet, so your light isn't too loose or too tight. So then that's how I installed it onto the mower, and then I'll show you on the mower how I ran it. Now this is the part number for those pigtails, PTE 176-496. That's just these. I mean, realistically, you don't need these. All you need to do is just cut the wire and splice them together. But I use these just in case I need to change the light. I can just unplug it and plug it back in. Harness, if you're wanting to get that, this is basically that harness. And then for the rear, if you want that harness, which would be, let me show you on this. The MS43-2018-00. And that's if you want to use this harness that basically just plugs directly into it. But in theory, you don't need any of this wire. You just need generic wire. Just plug them in, just cut them off, cut the ends off, and just hardwire it. But I did it this way. That way, if I need to change the light, I can just plug it in. I don't need to cut it and resplice it. So what I did is I got my wire. I ran it through this little gap right here. And then once you drill your hole, 3/4 inch hole, you take your wire that you fed through here, plug in your light, hardwire it, whatever you want to do, and then you just push it back in. And then I ran mine between the frame here underneath the gas tank. Meets right here in the middle. Same thing for the other side. Drill your hole, feed your wire through, plug your light in, and then this same thing, I ran it through the frame underneath, and it meets right there in the middle. Now for the front, the way I did it, I did a little sloppy, but so essentially drill your holes 3/4 inch wherever you want them. You can, if you want, you can just use the 3 in the middle. I did 5, but essentially this is how it's basically going to end up. This one's going to be in the middle, this one's going to be left side, and then your right side. And then, like I said, I spliced this light into this wire, that light into this wire. And the way I ran it is there's a hole back here. I fed my harness through. It can reach to this outer light. And then for this one right here, I actually cut the light and I fed the wire through, and I basically just wrapped them together, which should be hardwired, but that's essentially what I did. Zip tied it up, and like I said, this light's hardwired to this one. This light's hardwired to this one. And the way that I ran it, you can run yours wherever you want, but I ran mine through here. You can run it underneath. Ran it underneath to over here. From here, it goes inside. Alright, and then this is the front harness. Like I said, all of the wires on each side, they all meet up here and are basically just all hardwired together. So, and then once you get them all spliced together, these are your ground, at least for me, your ground wire. Mine's grounded to the chassis right here. You can also do it to the battery. And then once you get the positive wire, once you hardwire them all together, your positive wire, you're gonna take one, drill a hole for your switch, plug it into the switch, then you take an extra wire from the switch and run it to the battery. And that's basically it. That's all I did.